here in the beautiful Heidelberg App House and wanted to introduce ourselves first. So I'm Daniela Schmidt. And
I'm Marco Dorn. I'm in the product management team of SAP Landscape Management Cloud, or as we sometimes tend to call it, Llama Cloud, as SAP Landscape Management Cloud is quite a mouthful. And we welcome you to our TechEd session and to introduce you to our Jumpstart session, and later on as well to the tutorial that we prepared for you. And let me maybe start from the beginning rather on what we're actually going to talk about and what you're going to explore then afterwards in the tutorial. So actually there's an analogy which I would love to use, so I don't know if you know that, but people start to using llamas, actually the animals, as a shepherd. So because they're so intelligent that they are very helpful when you have a flock of sheep, actually, to keep them together. And that's quite a nice analogy actually to our product. So SAP Landscape Management Cloud, or again like Llama Cloud, what it does is it shepherds your flock of SAP systems. So you can actually manage your SAP systems like S/4HANA, for example, which you run on infrastructure as a service. And you can scale them in, you can scale them out, you can start them, you can stop them, you can become actually quite efficient and get a nice overview about like what is the health of the systems, how much costs, for example, are actually being generated on infrastructure as a service by those systems. And that's where we would like to introduce you to, and then as well enable you to combine those or this product with certain SAP BTP services, because then you can even increase the value of the product. So this is going to be the Jumpstart session, the hands-on tutorial that you're going to walk through and that we would like to introduce you to, because we think it's quite a nice tool, and you don't need to be afraid that you need to have the product available or that you need to have your SAP landscape now manageable by Llama Cloud for the hands-on. So we'll cover that later on what you can do and how you can get there. First of all, Daniela, can you just maybe show a quick demo of what the product is actually doing?
yeah, sure. Let's go over it. So here you can see our Landscape Management Cloud product. This is the home screen you will see when you go directly to your product, or when you're using our exercises, you will come here. And you will see here all the details of your systems, health status. You see if something is in process, if something is performing an operation, you can see it here. You see also if something has failed, so that you be alert if something is happening to your system. You can see the health system, so if everything is up and looks good, then you have one view only to catch this information. You can also see if everything is connected, so we are ready to go as a cloud product. You know, it's very important to see if everything is up to and running, so that you have the real-time data. You can also see in this, we already have onboarded 3 different hyperscalers, so you can also have add your different hyperscale you want. You can use one, but you can probably also have 2 or 3, like here in this example, and you can see all the information merged together and have one space where you can see it. I will show you the interesting part of that later on. Then you can also see how many systems I have, how many virtual machines I have for this entity. And one good part, we also see the costs we produce with that systems we are managing here. You can see currently Azure, for example, is a huge amount, almost 50%, and also on. So it was only one blink of an eye and you see all information you need maybe. You also see the sustainability, so you can also see if you can reduce something with all optimizations here.
And really important to point out, and this is really nice, I mean, that you can see it across hyperscalers. It's not only just one, but it's really one place where you can see it across the different hyperscale accounts if you tend to use more of them.
Yeah.
And actually, before I forget, if you have any questions during the session, during the demo, as well about the tutorial, make use of the Q&A within the live session. We've got experts in the background answering sessions. We're going to go as well to Q&A later on here in the live session. So before I forget, post your question. Sorry, yes. Continue.
Yeah, this is live, so you always good point that you mention it. So as you can see, I also have my accounts here. I can test it. I can also see all my virtual machines. That's very interesting part, because normally if you have a hyperscaler, you only see virtual machines of that hyperscaler. If you're using Landscape Management Cloud, you can see all of them in just one view, and this is one table. You can also select each different hyperscaler you want to see. For example, I can click for Azure and GCP, AWS, AWS, and you see I only see that information, and so I can just have all information in one glance. And yeah, maybe one quick view into what you can do with this software product. You can also start-stop system, and that could be on all your different hyperscalers. So I just can click and say I want different operations here. For example, on Azure and AWS, I don't care. I just can start-stop them easily. So here, for example, I can stop them, just next step, perform operation, and bam, we are going to be stopped. That's awesome, okay. Right?
That is good. That is good. And let's hope nobody is using this now.
Yeah.
So where can the viewers now actually find information on getting started with the tutorial, and as well get their hands dirty with the product, for example? So where would they as well start by finding, for example, the link to the tutorial, which we're going to introduce then?
Yes, so if you're at the session, you only have to go to the session material when you get to this GitHub repository, and there will be the README where you get the first information. So it starts with a description, so you will find here already all information a little bit shortly, but all necessary to get into it.
Yeah, and this is really important here at the top at the requirements. We really get you started there in the tutorial to see where you can find, okay, what do you need? Okay, you need an account on SAP.com. Makes it easy if you register there for the first to get started. Then afterwards, and this is maybe if you followed other Jumpstart sessions during TechEd, this is now a bit special, because Llama Cloud is not yet part of the BTP trial or of the BTP service offering. It runs on BTP, but it's not yet part in the service catalog. Nevertheless, there's a free trial account which you can get as well. Like with the SAP.com account, you get a 30-day free trial account. And important, once you start that, again, you can register, of course, for free and get ready. There's going to be a landscape simulated behind it. So you can play around, you can start-stop systems, and you won't touch any system landscape, so to say. So for this 30-day trial, we simulate a landscape. And then afterwards, or on top of that, for the hands-on, you need the trial account of the BTP, which you probably already have, especially if you already joined other Jumpstart sessions. And then to follow the full tutorial, you need to have access to an email inbox. This can be your business one, your personal one, doesn't matter. It's just part of one of the tutorial steps. And then afterwards, if you scroll down, to look into the exercises, we get you started in step by step on how to get those trial accounts, both of them, how to set them up, as well which region, for example, to pick for the BTP. That's important later on for the SAP Alert Notification Service. And then we guide you through SAP Landscape Management Cloud. So you will actually explore the product at first. Similar to what Daniela just showed, we will guide you through like the overview sections, the cost section, and so on. The analytics capabilities on the costs and so on is going to be visualized in the video inside the trial account. And then afterwards, in exercise 2, we're going to guide you through creating some automation and creating some patterns and so on to automatically start and stop systems. For example, over the weekend, you can stop a system, and then on Monday it starts again. So this is what we're going to show you or where we're going to guide you through in exercise 2. But that's only Llama Cloud. So that's the nice part, of course, about our product. But then afterwards, it gets more interesting, because then we're going to show you how to combine the product with SAP BTP services. So why don't you take us through those exercises as well?
Yes. So I will just jump to the exercise 3 here, firstly. So because the first one you already saw a little bit because I demoed it already. But here you can see how you can alert yourself with different options with Landscape Management Cloud and using other SAP BTP solutions. So here's one solution mentioned already here for you, the alert notification service. If you have, for example, the SAP event mesh, you can also use it, but it will not be on the trial for free, so you have to have it in advance. But you can also play around with that with a trial system of Landscape Management Cloud. But in our exercise, we all make it for you free, so you discover all the experience for free. Just play around, have some fun with it. I think that's an important part to have in such demos. And you can see I have many options what I can do with it. And yeah, so this is the main part is here you can alert yourself with Landscape Management Cloud.
Yeah. So, for example, if something unforeseen happens inside the setup that you did, so for example, if you schedule an activity, the system should start again on a Sunday evening to be ready for Monday morning, and for whatever reason that fails, in combination with SAP Alert Notification Service, you can then, use any of those channels. In the tutorial, this is going to be email. That's why you need access to your email inbox or to any of them. And then you can get an email or you can set up a Teams notification to see that something failed, and then you can have a look into SAP Landscape Management Cloud and then figure out what went wrong.
Yeah, amazing. So, as you can see, we already described everything, so you don't have to know anything about BTP. So don't be scared of all this text. It's just for you for guidance, and that you can enjoy all the functionality at a glance. And yeah, so probably I just show you one additional thing in our exercise we have prepared. It will be one step to automate all of that with Landscape Management Cloud and how you can automate things. So maybe you want to explain it to our listeners.
Yeah, sure, of course. So what we provide as well with SAP Landscape Management Cloud is a set of REST APIs, because many of our existing customers, they use scripts or they use things like, the Cloud Foundry runtime within BTP, or they use Ansible, or they use Terraform to automate their flows and standardize as well their landscape management flows. And that's why, of course, Llama Cloud provides a set of REST APIs that you can then talk to. And here in the exercise, we will show you how to generate the API key, how to then deploy or configure actually a small Python script, which is then deployed into the Cloud Foundry runtime within the BTP. But here again, as you said, you don't need to know Python. You don't need to be scared now that you need to be a Python developer, or you don't need to know the Cloud Foundry runtime. We really guide you through each step. You can fork this repository and modify the code if you prefer that. If you've never done that, no worries. You can download it. You can edit this in your text editor locally, and then we show you how to zip it in one archive and then upload it into via the UI within the BTP, so that you can see how it interacts with the Llama API.
Okay, great. So as you can see, it could be simple like that. How we can explore that. So we don't want to give too many hints so that you can discover all the information by your things and enjoy it. So hopefully you have fun with it and can explore something. Just for you, as maybe if you are struggling to think about what can I automate, for example, once you want to start a system and want to automatically stop some different interaction with, you can just get this all this loop thing we prepared with this automation. So you get a notification. With that automation, you can trigger a script which triggers our API on the Landscape Management Cloud, and this will trigger again an operation. So simple like that could it be.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, I mean, if you have questions throughout the exercise, I mean, if you don't walk through it right now in this half an hour, but of course you do it then afterwards, you can always post an issue here in GitHub. Maybe if you go back to the README file to the front page, just to make sure that everybody knows, I think once, yeah, if you just scroll up to the top, there you can see, to the very top, there you can see issues, and you can create an issue. So we will be monitoring the repository for the next couple of weeks more like actively, and we will keep monitoring it and subscribing to it. So if there are any questions afterwards, or if you come across anything which doesn't work, let us know, and we will for sure react and answer any questions. And so with that, let's, I would say, let's look into the questions which came throughout the session.
Yeah, let's make a Q&A.
Live Q&A.
All right, so first question, does Llama Cloud run in the cloud or on-premise?
So maybe I take that question. Yeah, Landscape Management Cloud is a cloud product, so it's running on cloud. And you also will use different options. So if you have already a Landscape Management Enterprise product running, you can also use that and combine it with Landscape Management Cloud. But you can also use our own standalone product, which is one little bit execution engine, which will be deployed on your hyperscaler, which will open a tunnel for us so that we can perform this operation on your systems for the safety reasons.
Yeah, so there's a small component running on-premise next to the systems, which is executing on the commands which come from the cloud product from Llama Cloud. Or as you said, I mean, Enterprise Edition of SAP Landscape Management can be used as well. All right, so the second question, can Llama Cloud be natively used to start-stop SAP application service based on systems workload throughout or in a predefined schedule? So yeah, I mean, that's one of the main purposes. So with Llama Cloud, so you can start and stop applications like SAP applications. Not based on the workload though. It's mainly for predefined schedules, so that you can, for example, create so-called patterns. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for going back to the demo. So you can define, for example, that systems should run only throughout the working days, and then only from, in this case here, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Or you can like stop systems or make them smaller, scale them in, like remove some of the application servers at a certain period of time. And then scale them out again, like, for example, during the work hours, to not stop a system, but really to keep it active, but to save money. And that's, of course, the nice part, especially in combination with infrastructure as a service, because you can then release the unused virtual machines, maybe use pay-as-you-go machines for the peak workloads, and have the reserved instances for the continuous workloads so that you can save as much money as possible.
Okay.
The next question, is there any possibility to have alerts triggered to send to Jira, or is ServiceNow the only supported ticketing system?
Yeah, currently I think it depends what solution you use. I mean, if you're using the alert notification service, I think there's mainly the ticketing of ServiceNow implemented, but you can maybe make a workaround. But I think if you have some feature requests that way, I mean, don't hesitate.
Yeah.
Ask that, and I think they will. The colleagues of alert notifications service will also be happy to add this functionality.
Yeah.
So if
maybe we can go back to the exercise 3, just because at the top there was the overview of what alert notification currently all supports. But the nice part is, I mean, if alert notification, for example, is not supporting Jira natively, as you can see here, and I'm not a Jira expert, but maybe it has a webhook to create an issue. I'm pretty sure it has. So you could use like the functionality from alert notification, for example, to call in the webhook from Jira, and then create the ticket. And this is then another combination, which you mentioned as well, I mean, event mesh,
Yeah.
which is just like the more the technical event-based automation, which you would then implement. you could trigger the same set of events which can go to alert notification and then go to, I don't know, email or Teams. You can as well use and trigger a script like a Cloud Foundry script or Ansible script or whatsoever, which is then talking and to, for example, the Jira API to create an issue. So that's not probably out of the box via alert notification, but you can realize it. I mean, with the flexibility, we are based on cloud events, so an open standard here, and then of course the typical APIs are just REST APIs, so you can easily implement that then on your own. And as well, on GitHub in the SAP samples repository, you will actually find as well a set of sample scripts for Llama for the on-premise product, so Landscape Management Enterprise Edition, and as well Llama Cloud. So if you build something, feel free to share it with the community. Again, in SAP samples, we have our repository for Llama Cloud, or for Llama in general. So it's nice to then as well share if you have such a script to talk to the Jira API. Okay,
then maybe we go. I hope that answered your question. Then we go to Naveen. He has also one question, so Matt's maybe a question. Is Landscape Management Cloud a licensed product?
So I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, if I misunderstand the question, but yes, so it's a separately licensed product. So you can find it in the SAP store, or you can talk as well to your account executive about SAP Landscape Management Cloud. So you can try it out with the BTP, with the free trial, which we link here from the Jumpstart session. Again, with the simulated landscape. We plan to make it as well available as part of the BTP service offering. So if you look into our roadmap on the Roadmap Explorer, then you can see this for the first quarter of next year. This will enable us to offer a free tier, so a free version of Llama Cloud for a small set of systems to manage. So in that case, like once we are ready there, you will be able to onboard all your systems and at least manually stop them. And 2 of them you could use then for with the whole functionality of Llama Cloud. So that's our plan for the free tier. And then afterwards you could enable like going to the paid tier and then enable like the full management of all the systems that you want. But of course, again, it's a separately licensed product.
Okay. Then we go to the next question we have from Sandeep. Can we use Landscape Management to move HANA DB from one AWS host to another? So I think you mean Landscape Management Cloud, not the enterprise product. That's sometimes a little bit different. But currently you cannot automatically move with Landscape Management Cloud, so we have not any possibility currently where you can perform an operation where it triggers to move your HANA DB to another hyperscaler. But yeah. I mean, you can get in touch with us. We are always open. If you have any questions, just come to us. And
this is actually a good point. So especially if you know SAP Landscape Management Enterprise Edition. So we are right now working on looking into the use cases of the Enterprise Edition to understand like which are the main use cases by customers and by partners with the Enterprise Edition. And then we are now planning on which one to migrate as well into SAP Llama Cloud. Because if you know, especially if you know Landscape Management Enterprise Edition, you know that it's based on NetWeaver Java, which is running out of maintenance end of 27. And there's an SAP note about that. And so right now, I mean, we work with full steam on enabling the major use cases and all the automation and as well the customization that many of our customers invested a lot of time and money in to enable migrating that to Llama Cloud, or at least transferring it if it's not going to be a one-on-one migration. I mean, probably there's going to be some migration effort, but this is now on our highest point on our agenda, so that we enable the major use cases here for you. And so that's maybe the last question then. Can Llama Cloud fully replace Llama on-premise? Again, we're working on that. So this is now on our agenda for the next couple of years. First of all, like you will see news in the next year or two to then be a full replacement.
Okay, then with that said, thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and have fun with the Jumpstart session. Post any issues and let us know what you think.